Good afternoon and welcome to the Jon Gaunt Show. Saturday's pro-Palestine demonstration march must be banned. They've been asked to cancel it themselves or postpone it. They've refused. The Met say they're too stretched. And in the light of those Jewish people being attacked and murdered yesterday in cold blood, the march must be banned. Keir Starmer, grow a pair and do your bloody job. Good afternoon. Do you agree with me? It's an extra show and I want your views because this is a massively important subject. I'm diving straight into it because it's one of the biggest political and social flashpoints in the United Kingdom right now. Yes, Saturday's planned pro-Palestine march in London. Did you see them last night? The bodies were hardly cold on the car park of the synagogue when these people thought it was okay, not just in London, but across the country and indeed in Manchester, to have these protests and start shouting their filth about from the river to the sea and an intifada, the whole idea of killing Jews. They were, not all of them, but a significant amount of them were celebrating the brutal murder of Jewish people. It disgusted me. What about you? And even if you were there and you were just protesting, where's your humanity? People had died that afternoon. A whole community, not just in Manchester, but across the United Kingdom, the Jewish community, were feeling intimidated, threatened, feel they can't live in this country anymore. And you think it's okay to go on a demo and shout your stupid little silly pro-Palestinian crap. Well, it's not. And now you're asked by the Met, because the Met, I don't agree with this, by the way, the Metropolitan Police, well, the police all over the country are going to be stretched because the one thing that Keir Starmer's done, apart from act like a performing monkey and go to a synagogue last night and all that performative stuff he's doing today, the one practical thing he's done, he wants to put the police at every synagogue and in every school. Now, the Jewish population saying, well, we don't really want that. What we want is for you to take our complaints seriously and understand what pressure we've been under for the past, I don't know, years, months. Certainly ever since Starmer's been in control, although the protests were going on before then. So the coppers are saying we can't look after a big demo in Trafalgar Square, at least 1,500 people going, they reckon, and do that extra security. What if something else happens tomorrow? They're obviously concerned. That's why they brought the SAS in yesterday, that there could be copycats or there are other things planned. I just think, again, if you have any humanity in you, you'd say, okay, we won't do it tomorrow. We'll postpone it. But no, the organisers are saying it's going ahead. And then you got your silly sixth formers going, well, what about all the deaths? 60 million deaths or whatever it is they go on about, they scream and bleat about in Gaza. It's all nonsense. Have some humanity, have some humility. And if Britain isn't broken, Keir Starmer, like you said the other day at your conference speech, would you like to say that again to the Jewish community? Britain is broken. And it's largely down to people like you, Keir Starmer, and the people who came before you, both in the Conservatives and in the Labour governments, who have been too soft on illegal immigration and indeed legal immigration. It should be an honour to become a British citizen. It feels like the political class have been giving away our passports and our citizenship, try saying that after a drink, as if it's going out of fashion, to use the cliche, giving them away like Smarties. Are we now going to get a grip? And the way to get a grip, Keir Starmer, is to grow a pair immediately. All this nonsense about we're going to put an arm around you, The Jewish community don't want an arm round you, round them. They want your hands and the police's hands round the neck of the terrorist scum that is causing the problem. Do you follow where I'm coming from? So let's get tough. And the way to start that is to say the march is banned. We've got a Home Secretary who's a Muslim herself, of course, who's saying she can't, Shabana Mahmood, she's saying she's asking them not to do it, almost pleading with them. Do you think she'd be the same if it was a Tommy or Robinson demo? Do you remember last week when, or this week it was, when Keir Starmer and Mahmood and the rest of the cabinet were slagging off Nigel Farage and slagging off Tommy Robinson? Imagine if there'd been an atrocity on the other hand and they were having a demo tomorrow. It would be banned. When the farmers wanted to protest, it was banned. There's been at least 12 occasions, I was looking up on the internet today, when demos have been banned. Now, let me just make something very clear. I am all for free speech, and I believe in the ability to withdraw your labour, go on strike. I also believe in free speech, and I believe in demonstrations. It's a democracy. However, the reason why I'm upset today about this and why I'm actually saying, and I've thought about it long and hard, this demo tomorrow must be stopped. It's about taste. It's about decency. And it's also about not putting the police under more pressure. It's about not having more innocent people slaughtered. The monster who carried out that attack yesterday, remember, he did it on the most religious day. He lived in the area, so he clearly understood the rules for their version of their Christmas day, the Jews, that they wouldn't have their phones with them, that they would be in the synagogue, and therefore he was trying to get in there clearly to slaughter many, many people, including children, saved by one rabbi and another stranger who closed the doors. Are you willing to allow that to happen again? I'm not. So the way to get tough on it is, there was no way Mahmood should have been going around TV studios today with that silly little sing-song voice of hers, sounding like a sixth former, basically saying, please don't be naughty, you're the naughty boys. Especially when you remember she's been on pro-Palestine marches. It's wrong. She should say, no, it's postponed. And the organisers should accept it. Because after yesterday's horrific events, tensions are running so high, there's obviously a need for it to be cancelled or banned. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has spoken out, kind of. He's condemned the atrocity yesterday. And then he's made sure he's had a visit to the synagogue last night. Did you see the picture of him, Mahmood, Yvette Cooper, his wife? Oh, that's interesting. Why is his wife suddenly in every picture? Like at the conference this week, she was constantly holding his hand. What's that all about? You don't think there's something about to hit the newspapers, do you? I don't know. I'm just saying I find it a bit odd. Today, he's gone to Manchester, which is the right thing to do, although I would have thought he'd have gone yesterday. He's gone there today, but he's taken his wife. And they're holding hands all the time. Happily married couple, of course. But what I find bizarre, so they were there last night in a synagogue, and they had a photographer to make sure we got all of them in the picture. It's performative crap like that, in my opinion, that turns people against mainstream politicians. They're playing you again. If you agree with me, put a comment at the bottom of the screen. If you disagree, tell me what you think. But I'm saying that instead of all this performative nonsense and these words, because that's all they are, we need action. And the action has to start with banning the march. There is precedence for this. There's no reason why it can't happen. The Metropolitan Police are actually asking for that. Let's get it done. Show you've got a pair of balls, Starmer. I'm saying the march shouldn't go ahead. What are you saying? And of course, it's a terrible balancing act, this, between my belief in freedom of speech and the right to protest and public safety. But do you know what? Who's put us in this position? It's Starmer and other establishment politicians. Why are Jewish people treated so differently? And indeed the Countryside Alliance, Tommy Robinson's lot, and Muslims. Why is there a difference? I'm just confused. I'll just a Twitter put out earlier. Keir Starmer said Britain wasn't broken. Perhaps he wants to explain that to the Jewish community this morning. Why hasn't he condemned the protest last night? Yeah, where's Khan? Where's the mayor? Where's the London MPs? Where's the Labour MPs condemning those people last night, celebrating the deaths or the murders of Jewish people? I thought they were the kind people. Oh, be kind, be kind. Don't forget the pronouns. Oh, a Jew's dead. And there was even one woman who said, I don't care about the Jews. I'm not saying everybody on those protests last night was like that, but by being there, you are adding your weight to it. The demo has to be cancelled. Starmer has to ban it. But he won't, will he? But he should. And Mahmood, stop the sing-song voice, love, and just be tough. I know you're a Muslim, and I know that's important to you, and you're welcome to your faith, but don't act like this. I do understand it. I understand it fully. Oh, by the way, thank you. Lots of people watching, which is great, because I didn't really announce this much. But if you've got a view, I'm going to come to you in a couple of moments. Keep putting them in the column underneath this video. I just can't believe what's going on. And then, of course, we've now, you know what the next part of this story will be? We got told today that one of the victims was actually, look, it looks very likely, he was shot in the crossfire from the police. So that's how he died. You watch, there'll be more effort in making sure that policeman is prosecuted and handed out of his job by the uber-liberal elite than there will be for condemnation of what happened last night. Mark my words. Where is the mayor? Why is he not condemning it? Why isn't he saying it has to be banned? And just compare and contrast what they all said at the conference when they attacked Nigel Farage, when they attacked Tommy Robinson, and they went on and on. Mahmood was one of the main ones. When she said, you know, it was far-right thuggery, there were 26 arrests. In London alone last night, there were 40 arrests at this pro-Palestine demonstration or march, or should I call it a celebration of the murder of Jewish people. It's about time Jewish people got the same treatment as Muslims in this country. Why are Muslims treated differently? Have we already got a kind of cultural, religious blasphemy attitude in the establishment? I don't think that serves anybody any good. So my question, should it go ahead? Should it be banned? What do you think the implications for public safety are? And let's talk about Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Has he said enough? What about Shabana and Mahmood? I think she was treating them with kid gloves, but you might think that's a bit unfair of me. What about the Met? I think they did a brilliant job yesterday. Of course, it's terrible, and my sympathy goes to the family of the man who was shot by the police, and indeed to the marksman or markswoman themselves. Of course it does. But I thought the police response was out of this world. In fact, I thought it was extraordinary. I was even wondering overnight, how come they got there that quick? But anyway, put that to one side. And let's have a debate about free speech versus national security. And then finally, of course, you've got to tie it into immigration. I'm not even saying that guy's name, right? Because I never do when he's a piece of terrorist scum. Although his name was revealing, wasn't it? There might have been a clue in the title, so to speak. I shouldn't be laughing. I apologise. But what I do want to know, guys, is legal and illegal immigration completely out of control. He came when he was 6 or whatever, got citizenship when he was 16, We're going to do this to many, many more people. And the flip-flop boys at Dover, who are still coming, by the way, maybe not this weekend because of the storm that's coming in, they're still coming. We don't know who they are. They're undocumented. They're of fighting age. I don't think just Jewish people should be worried. I think everybody should. And I don't want a religious war here. Some of the scenes I witnessed on the TV last night was like it when, when they get an effigy of Boris Johnson or an effigy of Donald Trump and they burn them in the streets in some godforsaken Middle Eastern shithole, yeah? Is that where we're going? That's not what this country is about. We are tolerant. We are welcoming. We can all live next to each other and rub up against each other. We can. And I know it's the extremists, but we can't just keep trotting out that excuse. Can we? So I'm saying the Palestinian march tomorrow should be banned. Absolutely banned. I'm saying Shabana Mahmood has done a terrible job so far. Keir Starmer, he just wants the cameras and his wife's hand at the moment. I think the Met have done brilliant. But I think Britain is broken. Are you with me or are you against me? And what is your opinion on this? How do we get on top of it? Get your comments in now. Let's go. Jon Gaunt Show. If you want to join in, feel free. I want to say thank you to Valentine Smith. He's been a member, well, a fan for ages, but he's just become a YouTube member. Like you can join, you can subscribe to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. It's free, completely free. But you then can become a member and pay, I think it's about £1 or £2 or something, a small amount per month. We've got a few. We've got about 20 odd. So Valentine's just joined it. Thank you, Valentine. It all helps. Niven Casey. Hi, John. Don't forget that jihad has many, many meanings. Correct. Where am I going next? Magpie, 1972. I can't believe these demos are still going ahead, John. People have lost their minds completely. 3 more years of this government? God help us. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Get tough. Starmer should just say, no, it's not happening. Do you understand what I mean? He's got to grow a pair. And then once he's done that, then let's start on the dinghy boys. Move them out of the hotels. Put them in camps where they can't get out of the camp. Offer them the opportunity to go home. If they don't know where they come from or they pretend they don't, send them to an island to be processed. Squeezy soaps got to stop. All the freebies, the taxes, everything were too much of a soft touch. And make it hard to get a British passport. We're the greatest country in the world. Why don't you value it, Starmer? And if Russia was in power, we're saying the same thing to him. Starmer's in power at the moment. The book stops with him. Do you agree? Let me know. Magpie's just become a new member now as well. Thank you, Magpie. Joining the YouTube tribe. Thank you very much indeed. Dave Whiteman, let the ProPal demos go ahead. People will finally wake up and see how evil these people are. If they had any humanity, they would voluntarily call them off. Dave Whiteman on YouTube, I agree with you largely. And that would show them up for what they are. But what if something happened? What if they did that? They carry on with their protest, the Met are stretched, and there's another attack on a synagogue or a Jewish school. Then it's hard to justify your position, Dave. I understand it. Because we have got to illustrate that these people, even the old fogies, their banners and, I support Palestine action. And why have you arrested a 90-year-old woman? Because there's no age limit on being a criminal. And indeed, there's no age limit on being a moron. Same token, Dave, those people shouldn't be getting arrested for being part of a terrorist organization. There should have been no need to prescribe Palestine action. We had to do it because Starmer, and before him, Boris, and before him, Rishi and Liz Truss, none of them were tough enough on these people who in our capital city were saying from the river to the sea, were basically wanting to annihilate Jews and couldn't separate Jewish people out from the Israeli government. our government has not done enough to support, cherish, and protect Jewish people. And that's why today the Israeli government are up in arms. You can't blame them. And that's why I said last night, and I see a lot of people have now got brave enough to copy me, Starmer has blood on his hands. Do you agree? Or am I going too far? Let's go to John Briggs. Ben Habib, a man of integrity, join and vote Advance UK. Farage lies and flip-flops. John, do you really think today's the day for you just to do blatant electioneering? Because I don't think it is. If you were making a point, it might be worth it. But that's just rubbish, what you've just done. Just rubbish. You should be ashamed of yourself. Sorry. Denise Deacon, what I want to know is, where's the condemnation of the protesters last night? Well, I'm just talking about that now, Denise. Where's the condemnation of them being far left thugs? What a great point. We can't carry on with all this hate being spewed every week. And that's what it is, John. It's hate towards Jewish people. Denise Deacon, you put it brilliantly. You can give out the pencils at the next meeting of the Jon Gaunt tribe. Thank you very much indeed. By the way, if you'd like to donate to keep these podcasts going, I've got to say a big thank you to the people who did it this morning. This morning it's been outrageous. We've had Brian Schaefer. Thank you, Brian, in Australia, one of my Australian fans. We've had Ray, we've had Stuart, we've had Bill, and we've had Valentine, who gave money, but then also has now become a member. Thank you very much indeed. And we've had some great news. I've had another certificate. I'm going to have to paper my living room wall with them. It'd be like Germany before the war in the end, all the old what do you call it, banknotes on the wall because they're not worth anything. But 1.3 million views of my videos now. It's going up by almost 100,000 a day or every 2 days. So I've got another certificate, which today from YouTube, and they've said brilliant, well done, etc., etc. Like old Mr. Grace, oh, you're all doing very well. 1.3, and the subscribers are now at 5,300 or around about that figure. Remember, the target is 10,000, and the target for views, well, it's as many millions as we can get. And I want to thank you, because without your support, both financially and morally, and your comments and watching it and etc., and telling your mates, I wouldn't have got it to where it is. So this is our success. 1.3 million views. It's unbelievable. If you want to help out financially, you can just press that little dollar sign at the bottom of my screen. I think it's in the right-hand side. People are telling me it's all over the place. It depends on what software you got, I think. Press that, and you can donate on YouTube. You can also donate by going to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, and you can give me anything from $5 up, and you can express it as a beer or a coffee. And I'm so grateful to it. So thank you. And then there's all the other things like becoming a member on YouTube. You know, there's all the other stuff. Whichever way you want to do it, however you want to do it, thank you for your contribution. And the reason we're doing the show at this time today is because, as you know, Friday is me night out with me mates. Mates. What am I on about? He needs the support from his wife. He can no longer go alone. Oh, Pam, that's interesting. Why? I asked the question earlier. Why is, I hate the way they call her Vic. Victoria, why is she suddenly with him all the time? Anyway, Dave Whiteman, no one can deny that two-tier policing is real. It's not just two-tier policing, Dave. What I think's going on now, we've got two-tier protesting. If you're Tommy Robinson, you can't really protest, or they basically give you so many restrictions, which most people obeyed. Or if you're the Countryside Alliance or one of the farmers, be interesting if the pensioners suddenly decided to protest. How would they be treated? It's not the police, it's the government. And these Muslim, well, they're not all Muslim, are they? The Palestinian protests should not be allowed to go forward. Just on grounds of taste and decency, it shouldn't have been allowed. Last night, they should have got the water cannon out and washed that scum off the streets of London, Manchester, Birmingham. It wasn't appropriate. And it certainly isn't appropriate this weekend. Have a bit of humanity. You're the lefty bastards who keep telling us, be kind, think about my gender, think about my pronouns, think about this, think about that. I'm a victim. I'm a permanent victim. Grow up and show some humanity. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Let's go to Magpie 72. Thank you for joining us, Magpie. They weren't protesting, they were celebrating this horrible attack. I think you are absolutely right. And I think that's what really got me going in the end. It wasn't a protest. No Middle East wars on British shores, says Dave. Thank you, Dave. First it was the Jews, next it'll be the Christians. Mark my words, says Denise. I think it'll be all of us, Denise, because we're all ready, aren't we? We're scared to say certain things. Did you see that story today? Some woman councillor up in Scotland, she says, oh, yes, I was born and bred round here. And the BBC presenter told her off. Evidently, it's racist to say you were born and bred, because you're kind of saying that anybody who wasn't born here or bred here, they're not British. Well, I was born and bred in Coventry, and I'm proud of it. And I ain't going to stop saying it. It doesn't mean somebody who's come to Coventry, who lives here now and is contributing to our community, can't say, oh, yeah, I'm from Coventry. I'm not one of those sort of idiots. But don't make out that I'm being racist or cityist. The world has gone mad, and we never voted for any of this crap, did we? You'll lose. My thoughts, says Magpie, are with all our Jewish friends in this country. I just want to say we're all feeling scared and unsafe in our own country now. I think that's a good point. Magpie, and of course, you've just become a member. Thank you for the support. It is really, really valuable. You're right. We all feel a bit like that because you never know what you can say. And that's why I just gave you that example. Woman being interviewed on the news and she said, yeah, I was born and bred. And the person who was interviewing her objected to that term. What is going on? If you're liking the show, please press the like button. It really helps the algorithm. If you've listened to this today on a podcast and now you're watching it on the telly, welcome. Because don't forget, it's constantly there. If you ever miss a show, you don't have to worry. That's the wonder of the internet and YouTube. Just go to Jon Gaunt TV and watch it in there. And don't forget, you can subscribe to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. It's free, completely free. You don't have to pay a penny. And you can watch as many of my videos as you wish. In fact, the more you watch, the better it is for me and the algorithm. So thank you very much indeed. I tell you what, our Lisa is going to be busy today, putting up all these new people who have joined, and these people who are offering to volunteer, donate some money. Don't forget, you can do it now. Just click the little button down there, the $sign. This is Jon Gaunt. It's Jon Gaunt TV, and it's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You'll find me everywhere. Niven Casey, hi, John. If they won't ban the march, how about postponing all the football matches that are policed? The thousands of football fans against this then could turn up for a counter-protest. Niven, I like your thinking, but that would kick off, wouldn't it? That would. I had a similar thought. I was thinking, why doesn't Tommy organise a counter-protest like Hope Not Hate do all the time? I'm not saying do it because we don't want trouble. God's sake. We've had people murdered in the street. We've had people effectively murdered. We could this morning literally be talking about 20, 30, 40 people dead, couldn't we? I mean, I know the bomb that he was strapped to was not active. But if he got into the synagogue, and remember the picture I had up yesterday, there's people at the windows and he's screaming at them with his knife. Imagine if he'd got in there. I was thinking about this. You know, I used to be a church guy. Our church has just been demolished, built in the 60s, demolished now because of concrete cancer. I told you about this before. But I was thinking, well, if I was at church with my mum and dad when I was a kid, and suddenly some nutcase had come through the double doors at the bottom and just started slashing people, you wouldn't get out, would you? It'd be very difficult because of the rows of seats. And then I saw a picture of that synagogue. And like where the women are sitting and where the men are sitting. I don't agree with it, but that's their religion. Not on you go. It would have been mayhem. So well done to the police for getting there so quickly. Well done for the passerby who told the police. And well done to the rabbi who evidently was a hero and barricaded the door. He wanted to kill loads of people. There's no two ways about it. And can we stop all this pissing around about, oh, we don't know what his intent was? What? I think we do. I think we can hazard a guess. Right? I don't know. Johnny Roberts, the hypocrisy with Shabana Mahmood is unreal. She is condemning these Palestine marches, yet there's a picture of her with a Free Palestine banner from a previous march circulating on social media. Yeah, I've seen it, Johnny. Maybe she's grown up. Her voice hasn't, but maybe she has. I don't know. But the point is, she also said, I'm a Muslim first and foremost. No. You should be a British citizen. We should be English first and foremost. All of us should be. And, you know, there are people already trying to turn this. That Emily Maitlis, who I used to work with, I don't know if you know who she is, and John Sopel, who I can't stand, right? They're already trying to turn this into the far right are exploiting it. That's the angle they found because they can't justify what happened yesterday. These people make me sick, let me tell you. Brian Potter, if they don't ban them from now, it will be clear as day where the government's loyalties lie. Brian, I think you're almost on the money. That is why I'm saying Starmer's got to get tough, and he's got to get tough now. Then we've got to get tough on both legal immigration and illegal. In fact, I would say we should stop all immigration for a short period of time. Let's find out who's in the country. And anybody who's here who shouldn't be here, let's deport them. Nigel Farage is right. We shouldn't be letting people exploit our stupidity or the government's stupidity. Should we? Watch this fake game of Farage calling out the government increase. Watch the media present Farage as the choice for those who oppose this government. You might be right, Richard, but what would you do? So there's your negativity to a man who hasn't killed anybody and a political party that is perfectly legitimate. Let's have some positivity from you. Are you not concerned? Do you think the protest should go ahead tomorrow? Come on. I'll wait for your opinion to come through. Paul Court, no moral Muslims, or do you mean no more Muslims? I disagree. I'm not anti-Muslim per se. Not at all. Not at all. And neither should you be. But everybody, regardless of religion, should be treated the same. Dave Whiteman's just whacked in £2 by pressing that little $sign on the screen. Thank you very much indeed for that. If you're wondering why I'm doing this with my eyes, I'm keeping an eye on the time because I've got a lot to do before I can go out. Magpie says, you're very welcome. You are a voice and we all need to hear it. That's kind of you, Magpie. Thank you very much indeed. Michael Beach, they've already said that they will march, and judging by last night's violent protests in London, Manchester, and indeed Glasgow, where the police, without any riot police in sight, were useless. It's a joke. Well, maybe the police misjudged it. They did go in hard at the end. I saw it. But maybe they misjudged it because they didn't think anyone would possibly be violent or that aggressive when people were barely cold outside the synagogue. Your views, please. I am stopping soon, so make sure you get them in now if you want to have your say. How do you think Keir Starmer is handling all this? I'm very critical of him, as you know. I want him to resign. I don't think he's a leader. I don't think he ever will be. But can he handle this? Is this the test? And if so, I would say so far he's failing. Absolutely failing. Like he failed at Southport when he ran away from the mothers. I'd say Shabana Mahmood has had a very poor start to her job. Last week she said Farage was more than racist. What did she mean by that? And will she condemn? Well, she has condemned, to be honest, the killing. She said it was horrific or whatever. But then she politely asked them not to protest this weekend. No. You're the Home Secretary. You put your foot down and say, it's not happening. What are they worried about? Well, we know what they're worried about. They're worried about the Muslim block vote. I don't even know if that's a thing, but that's what I think they obsess about in their Downing Street focus groups. I think they're concerned about that. But if we're treating everybody equally, and if we can't be racist, which we shouldn't be, and sexist and anti a certain religion, then they've got to treat everybody exactly the same. I think the Met Police, for example, have done a great job. Yes, it's incredibly sad what's happened to this one Jewish guy who was killed by the police. But I still want the police to go in hard like that. Don't you? And I certainly don't want this policeman in any way, shape, or form prosecuted. And then it's balancing security and free speech, because the thing that's really changed, I guess, since I was growing up and doing studenty protests was that whatever you do now, it doesn't even have to get on telly, does it? It just needs to get on the internet and it goes viral on TikTok, or it goes on YouTube or other video outlets. And everyone's got a mobile phone. So have you seen all these protests? As soon as they, or even crimes, when the coppers are trying to arrest a shoplifter or something, the shoplifters' mates are there immediately with their cameras looking for police brutality. It's a different world. And when it comes to things like the Palestinian question, those images go around the world within seconds. And this is where the heightened tension, I think, comes from. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Apart from, I do feel this protest this Saturday should not be happening. Where are you on that? Right, a few more comments and then I'm off, I promise you. Denise, I remember listening to your Radio London show after the 7/7 attacks and Muslim callers ringing in saying they are always Muslim before anything else. And there lies the problem. I remember that as well. I also, though, remember something about 7/7. And don't forget, I was live on air when it happened, and I stayed on air for about 7 hours or something. We also had the first people, because this was before really smartphones and the rest of it and Facebook. So people phoned their local radio station, which was BBC London. And I remember reporting on that and definitely not speculating, getting the information. We had a good team of journalists that day. It was great radio, because best radio is always made in times of tragedy. But I do remember the debates afterwards. And I do remember one thing, Denise. I don't know if you remember this. Ken Livingstone was in Singapore. We just got given the Olympics. And he went up in my estimation because he actually said they want to he said that, I think he was the first one ever to say that line. Look, these terrorists want to divide us and they're not going to. We've just got the Olympics, blah, blah, blah. He showed real leadership there. Now, whether London got better or worse after that, the Olympics were a raging success. It can't be denied. But, and I was kind of pretty negative towards the Olympics, if I'm honest with you. Anyway, that's a separate issue. But I do remember him saying that. And I do remember some people, but it wasn't all Muslims, Denise. Let's not look at this in a biased way. There are other Muslims, some of which are still big fans of my work, who had a different opinion. And I just think, whatever religion, anybody who says their religion comes before their country, that's just fucking mad, isn't it, really? But then I'm not religious. Like I've always said, I can slag off Muslims, Jews, even though I've got great friends who are both Muslims and Jews. Not at the same time, but you understand what I mean. And I don't want a blasphemy law. And I want to be able to say what I feel about it. I don't believe in it. I'm in the Johnny Lydon camp, religion, that song, when he says, no, I wouldn't say that today, but it's a line in that. If you know the song, you'll know what I'm talking about. Was that? I don't know if it was the Sex Pistols or if it was when he was in Pill. Anyway, regardless, I've gone off track. The bottom line is, Denise, we're British. But because we've devalued what being British is, so we've let people come in and turn neighbourhoods into shitholes, right? Literally. And we've not said, no, we don't accept that. First cousin marriage. That's a great point, isn't it? We've even got an NHS trust that says that's quite good. Gives them more security. Well, let's look at the levels of deformity. It's not very good. It's wrong. It's wrong. And then they use the NHS to try and repair the damage. No, it's wrong. I don't agree with Sharia courts. I don't agree with the Jewish courts. And I know they say, well, there is no Sharia courts. No, because they're called councils, but they're still courts. It's just rubbish. I believe in equality for all. And literally, that is what I believe. Which means is I should have the right to slag off a Muslim as much as a Jew or a Hindu or a Sikh or a Christian or a non-believer. Why should I tread on eggshells? No. That's where we've gone wrong. Translators for every single department in every area of life. No. Coppers who don't use dogs to go and search homes because Muslims don't like dogs, evidently. Christmas being renamed Winter. There's all these stupid examples we can come out with. Yeah? Why didn't we say we're called Great Britain? And we're called Great Britain, and it means something because we are great. It's the greatest country in the world, which is why every Tom, Dick, and Abdul and Fred want to get in it. That's why the Dinghy Boys are here, where they come all the way through Europe because they want to come to England. Britain. Why can't we be proud of it? Why can't we say our passport is valuable? No, you ain't getting one straight away. And when you do get one or you get leave to stay, we will check on it in a few years' time. And we will boot you out if you've just taken the dole all that time. And no, you can't be a Taliban commander and then get in and then bring 14 relatives. No. No, no, no. And then we'll tackle the really thorny issues of why do so many women from certain communities never work? Is that their choice? So you're not even allowed to question it. And I'm not going to celebrate the fact we got... I always remember that, just going back to the Olympics, Tony Blair's best mate was the mayor. He was a nice chap, actually. I got to know him later. But he was the mayor of Tower Hamlets. And it was the day, I think it was the day of the Olympics. We're down at Stratford in this shithole of a place saying this is where the Olympics will be. And I was thinking, no, it won't be. We ain't going to win. That was going through my head. And then he came on, Sir somebody. I can't remember his name now. Anyway, and he started bragging about what a great place Tower Hamlets was, right? And I had some East End mates who had moved out of that area. And they've all gone to Margate and place. It's called White Flight, which is a horrible, crude term, but that's what they said. Anyway, and he said, did you know, John? Right. And of course, I was at BBC London, so I think he must have never heard the programme because he must have thought I was some kind of bleeding heart liberal like the rest of the people were. Well, they weren't all like that, but understand. Anyway, he goes, we've got something like there's a ridiculous amount of languages spoken in our schools. And he said, I think that's great. I said, do you? I said, I don't. And he said, why? I said, well, because what's the educational standard like? How are they doing? What's the end product? And he didn't like it. And in fact, he actually complained that he thought a line of my questioning was racist. It's nothing to celebrate that. And how do you pay for it? How do you fund it? And do they hold back black or white kids or blue kids, whatever kids, who can speak English? This idea that diversity was our strength, that's where it began to take hold. Sir Robin Wales, that was his name. Anyway, I ruined his breakfast on that show. And that, look, I'd say his sole purpose of being put in as the Prime Minister is to get the digital ID in. They're doing nothing about anything else. Well, they're actually not doing anything about that either, Annette, at the moment. But I understand your point. Their block vote is shrinking every day. It's going to sectarian parties. And appeaser, now this, I thought somebody would come up with this, Henry Ives, this is, on YouTube. And appeaser is one who feeds a crocodile, hoping it will eat him last. Georgie Galloway says that, doesn't he? Stephen Killington on YouTube says it's called brainwashing. And we don't do that in this country. End of. Jackie Ward, she's given me my 3 red hearts, as she does every day. Thank you, Jackie. Niven Casey, Saturday, people first. Sunday, people second. Don't understand that, Niven. It's too clever for me. S3, ban the protests up in Glasgow and Edinburgh tomorrow as well. as well as all the other protests. They're not going to ban them. They're going to let them go on. You watch. Wouldn't it be a peaceful world if there was no religion? Says Stephen Killick. Stephen, I have to agree with you largely. Thank you. And what's this one now? All these people coming here, it'll be the Great Britain slum of the world and a third world country. I know what you're thinking, Pam. I know what you're thinking. That was Pam Millett, by the way. All right, I'm done. I've got to go. I've got to get this packaged up and put out so other people can watch it later. But thank you for joining in. Hope you've enjoyed it. And if you want to donate, you know what to do. Go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt or click the little $ and make a donation there. But most importantly, press the like button and make sure you tell all your friends about this and tell them how successful it is, because I think if people want to be part of something that's happening, and this is happening, or it appears to be. Also, what did I want to say to you? You can also obviously subscribe. I hate that word, but subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jon Gaunt TV. It's free. It's free. Oh, I got it here. Saturday people, John, means Jews, and Sunday people means Christians. Yeah, so what's the point he was making then? I get that now, Chris. Thank you for that. But I don't really understand it still. Maybe it's because I'm thick. I don't know. Never mind. Somebody will explain to me on an email later. I'm off. Back on Sunday. I'm not going to do one tomorrow. And well, God willing, unless something terrible happens today, I'm going to have a complete day off tomorrow. But I will be back on Sunday afternoon because we've got into the habit of doing those Sunday shows and they do well. So thanks for that. Thanks for joining in this afternoon. Sorry if you've missed the live show. I just decided I had to do it now because I've got to get out and see my mates. Got to have some part of a semblance of a normal life. Thank you for all your contributions. Very much appreciated. Until we meet again, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. Thank you. See ya.